Elara, my sister-in-law, upon learning that the new growth recovery elixir was made from cockroaches from Delaware, USA, decided to extract it herself. She collected cockroaches from around the house, used a juicer to extract their fluid, mashed them into a paste, then made Leo, my nephew, drink it. When I saw what she was doing, I quickly intervened, warning her that cockroaches carry many germs and pleading with her to abandon the idea of making him drink it. After that, Leo failed his university entrance exams. One night, as I was walking home from my night shift, he waited for me, knife in hand, and killed me. It was all my fault. My mother said, "It's because you didn't let him drink the cockroach juice back then. That's why he didn't become the top scholar." I opened my eyes, finding myself back on the day Elara was preparing to give Leo the cockroach juice. I forced a cold smile. "Time for your medicine, son. Drink this quickly, and you'll be well in no time. This is good stuff your mother prepared just for you," Elara said, carrying a bowl of an unknown black liquid, hurrying towards him. During dinner, Leo, distracted by playing, spilled hot soup on his hand. The burn quickly reddened, and he cried out in pain. My mother, flustered with worry, kept calling him, "my precious boy," trying to pull him to rinse his hand under the tap, but Elara stopped her, claiming she had a better way. Elara went back to the room, retrieved a box, and dumped cockroaches into the juicer. A few still-living cockroaches tried to crawl out but were instantly crushed by the rapidly spinning blades. When the machine stopped, Elara poured the liquid into a small bowl and presented it to Leo. "Drink it, son. The pain will go away immediately. This medicine is very effective." Leo stopped crying, staring at the black liquid, wrinkling his nose as he asked, "What is this? It looks disgusting. I don't want to drink it." Elara pushed the bowl closer. "This is a miracle cure. It works best when hot." My mother hesitated. "Elara, can this really be eaten? I've never heard of anyone eating cockroaches." Elara shot my mother a dismissive glance. "Honestly, you're so ignorant. Haven't you heard of the new growth recovery elixir? It's made from cockroaches, and American ones at that. Chinese cockroaches are even better. It would be a waste not to use such a precious thing." My mother was clearly unconvinced, but dared not argue, merely winking at me as a signal. Seeing the familiar scene, I realized I had been reincarnated. In my previous life, when this happened, I immediately intervened. "Sister, cockroaches crawl everywhere and carry so many germs. Leo is still so young. Drinking this will make him sick. This isn't some miracle drug. Its treatment scope is very limited. Moreover, the ingredients for the new growth recovery elixir are cockroaches from Delaware, processed through many complex extraction stages, not just juiced and drunk. If it were that easy, the pharmaceutical factories would have gone bankrupt." Under my persuasion, Elara finally gave up the idea of making Leo drink the cockroach juice. I even took the opportunity to throw away the juicer. I thought it was just a minor incident in life, something I paid no mind to, never imagining it would become the seed of disaster for my future. From then on, whenever Leo faced difficulties in his studies or life, Elara would mumble, "If only he had drunk that cockroach juice, he would have undergone a complete transformation. It's all your aunt's fault for stopping him. Now he has to struggle with his studies like this." When Leo failed his university exams, he couldn't accept it. One day, he waited for me with a knife in a dark alley with no cameras. I saw him and thought he was worried about me walking alone at night, coming to pick me up. I reached out to take his hand, but to my surprise, without a word, he plunged the knife straight into my stomach. Blood gushed like a fountain, and I collapsed to the ground. Only then did he grit his teeth and say, "It's all your fault. Mom said it, because you didn't let me drink the cockroach juice, I didn't become the top scholar." When he saw me stop breathing, he ran home in a panic. He arrived home covered in blood, and the entire family was stunned. Elara quickly asked what had happened. He coldly replied, "Mom, it's all her fault for not letting me drink the cockroach juice. Otherwise, I would have been the top scholar. I killed her." Elara told him to quickly take a shower, change his clothes, and warned him not to tell anyone about going out that night. My parents were heartbroken when they heard the news. I thought they would report it to the police and seek justice for me. But to my surprise, when the police arrived, the entire family lied, saying Leo had been home all night and hadn't gone out at all. I was filled with despair. When they received my urn of ashes, my father cursed it as bad luck, saying that a married daughter shouldn't be brought into the ancestral hall, and then he poured my ashes down the drain. My mother stood by, saying, "Leo is the hope of our entire family. He cannot be ruined. You loved him so much. Surely you understand our actions, don't you?" I only felt a chilling cold. So this was the family for whom I had poured out all my heart and soul. It was then that I truly saw everything clearly. My mother saw me standing there, lost in thought, and not reacting as Alara was about to make Leo drink. She quickly pinched my arm. The pain made me cry out and snapped me back to reality. My mother glared at me and said, "Lily, you're a nurse, tell me, is your sister-in-law's method really effective?" I composed myself, replying skillfully, "Mother, I'm just a junior nurse. At work, I only know how to give injections. I don't know anything about these matters. But if sister-in-law says cockroaches are good, then they must be. Besides, the new growth recovery elixir is effective, isn't it? Everyone knows how much sister-in-law dotes on Leo. What parents would ever harm their own child?" Hearing me say that, my mother seemed reassured, her eyebrows relaxing. I quickly pulled my hand back. Alara lifted her chin triumphantly. "I told you so, this is truly good medicine." With that, she held Leo tightly and forced him to drink. Leo, disgusted by the taste, wanted to vomit, but Alara covered his mouth, preventing him. My mother stood by, watching with a pained expression but said nothing more. The next day, upon waking, the minor burn on Leo's hand had indeed improved significantly. Alara was overjoyed, believing it was all thanks to yesterday's cockroach juice. "See, it really works. He's completely recovered overnight, not a trace left. Our Leo's quick recovery proves his body is healing itself." My mother stood nearby, beaming, completely free of the worries from last night, continuously praising. "Truly a treasure. Alara, you're so smart." I was speechless. I knew Leo's hand wasn't severely burned. The soup had already cooled down, most of it spilled on the ground, only a little touched his hand. Because his skin was delicate, it reddened quickly, but it would have healed naturally overnight even without intervention. But why should I remind them of that? Let them drink all they want. After a quick breakfast, I prepared to leave. Just then, Alara pulled out the juicer again, cheerfully saying, "My good boy, I told you the cockroach juice is effective. Come on, drink another bowl to strengthen yourself. You'll undergo a complete transformation. Whatever your teachers say, you'll understand it instantly." Leo grimaced. "Mom, this is too hard to drink. I feel like throwing up." He then turned to me, seeking help. Before, a look like that from him would have softened my heart, and I would have spoken up to help him, but not anymore. I calmly put on my shoes by the door, paying no attention. Alara continued, "How can medicine taste good? Good medicine is usually bitter. My good boy, bear with it for a bit. You'll come first in exams and crush all the other kids." Hearing this, Leo finally showed a glimmer of hope. "My desk mate always comes first in class. I've been annoyed with him for a long time. Once I get first place, let's see if he still dares to act arrogant." Alara beamed, praising her son as a genius, then put more cockroaches into the juicer. I didn't want to watch any longer, fearing I would vomit right after breakfast, so I quickly left the house. The house where my family currently lived was actually bought by me. During my university entrance exams, my parents said it was hard for girls to find jobs, and nursing was a stable career. I reluctantly agreed, thinking that later, when my parents were old, someone would care for them. After graduating, I started working at a local hospital. At that time, my family hadn't started fighting yet. I used all my savings from university and my first few years of work to pay the down payment for the house. Unexpectedly, a primary school was built nearby later, and the house I bought suddenly became a house in a prestigious school district, its value skyrocketing. At that time, my parents called, feigning concern, saying I was lonely living alone in the city and wanted to come live with me. They also claimed that their hometown didn't have good educational conditions and wanted to bring Leo to study. I remembered Leo's small, fair face when he was a child, how he would giggle and cling to my finger every time I tickled him. My heart softened. And so, my parents, my brother Daniel, and Alara all moved in. The empty house suddenly became lively. I thought it wasn't so bad. Although Alara would sometimes mock me, saying I was getting old and still living at home, with no one wanting to marry me, my mother would always pull me aside and advise me not to take it to heart. Looking at my mother's wrinkled face and graying hair, my heart softened again. My mother had to clean, cook, and care for the children every day. I felt sorry for her and often gave most of my salary for household expenses. I treated my nephew like my own child. I hadn't met a man who made my heart flutter, so I viewed my nephew as my own. From childhood to adulthood, the toys I bought for him were always the most expensive. He struggled with his studies, so I dipped into my savings to pay for his extra classes. But I never imagined I was merely a blood bank for this family. I used to think I was lucky. I didn't marry, and my parents never forced me to, until my death in the previous life, when the police called them to identify my body. When they saw my tragic corpse, my father and brother's eyes showed no trace of sadness. Instead, they gleamed with greed. They didn't immediately cremate or bury me, but hired a stretcher to carry my body to the hospital entrance. Even though my body had started to smell, they didn't care. They caused a ruckus at the hospital entrance, claiming I was killed on my way home from work, and that if the hospital hadn't forced me to work overtime, I wouldn't have died, so the hospital should be held responsible. Eventually, the hospital paid a large sum in compensation. As soon as they got the money, my family immediately bought a new house and car for Leo. The entire family was overjoyed, basking in their newfound glory. Of course, there was no funeral. When they left the funeral home, they poured my ashes down a roadside drain. On the way home, the new car had just enough room for the whole family, with no spare seats. My father said triumphantly, it was right not to let her get married back then. Wedding money is just a one-time thing, and if she demanded a lot and then divorced, we'd lose big. This way, all her salary for so many years came home, and this amount is even more than a bride price. Daniel patted Leo's head, chiming in, Leo is truly smart. Even dead, she brought the family a fortune. Luckily, we didn't let her get married, otherwise, who knows whose hands this money would have fallen into. Leo, playing a game, didn't even look up, just let out a triumphant snort from his nose. Recalling the family's coldness, the blood in my veins boiled. That evening, after returning home from work, I retrieved a package containing surveillance cameras. I waited until everyone was fast asleep, then installed them in the living room, preparing to watch the unfolding drama. Not long after, Leo ran into trouble at school. During class, he suddenly suffered severe stomach pain, continuously vomiting and having diarrhea, which alarmed his teacher. His young homeroom teacher, Ms. Evans, dared not delay and quickly took him to the nearest hospital, which happened to be where I worked. The doctors initially diagnosed acute gastroenteritis, suspected to be caused by eating unclean food, and immediately put him on an IV drip. I had just finished administering medication to a patient when I received a call from my mother, her voice filled with anger and reproach. What kind of aunt are you? Your nephew is in the hospital, and you're not even here to take care of him. What's the point of working in a hospital? I inquired about the situation, learned Leo was on an IV drip, and since my hands were free, I went to watch the show. When I arrived at the IV room, I saw Leo, pale-faced, sitting silently in a chair. My mother was clutching him, calling him my precious boy with pity, while Alara was raging, loudly arguing with the teacher. Who gave you permission to take my son to the hospital without asking? Do you even know what's in that IV drip, and you dare give it to my son? Ms. Evans, the young homeroom teacher, was a bit flustered dealing with such unreasonable parents, but tried to remain calm. Leo's mother, he was vomiting and having severe diarrhea at school. If we waited any longer, he would have been dehydrated, so he needed an IV immediately. But Alara wouldn't listen. I know my son's body perfectly well. He doesn't have gastroenteritis at all. He's undergoing a physical transformation. Her voice grew increasingly excited. My son is vomiting to expel all the toxins from his body. This is a sign that the medicine is working. With that, she disregarded Leo's struggles and pulled out the IV tube. Leo, come home with Mom. Mom will juice some more for you to drink a lot, and you'll be cured. My nephew was weak and wanted to refuse but had no strength left. He was dragged home and my mother hurriedly followed. I stood hidden, enjoying the entire scene. No one paid any attention to me. I returned to the nurse's station, happily resuming my work. Guessing they had arrived home, I turned on the camera to monitor them. I must say, cameras nowadays are really sharp. When my mother and Alara brought Leo home, my father was lying with his feet propped on the sofa, watching short videos. Seeing a large, shiny cockroach crawling on the wall, he grabbed a slipper and smacked it dead. Just as he was about to scrape the cockroach off the slipper into the trash, Alara stopped him. She carefully removed the cockroach carcass and put it in a box, not forgetting to scold him. "Father, why would you throw away a cockroach? Don't you know this is precious?" My father frowned. "Cockroaches are filthy. What do you want to keep that for?" "You don't understand, father. The medicine in hospitals is all made from cockroaches. They deliberately hide these simple ingredients to extort money from people." Hearing this, my father seemed less skeptical. "Really, it's that powerful?" She asserted confidently, "There are ancient records of cockroaches being used as medicine. People used them that way back then." My father was half convinced, opening a few videos to check. Indeed, there was a segment about medicine made from American cockroaches. He pondered, Americans eat all sorts of GMO foods. Perhaps their cockroaches are also genetically modified, which is why they're imported for medicine. It's truly too dark. The bodies of our Chinese people are being modified without us even knowing. My father rarely agreed with Alara, but this time, he nodded in agreement. Normally, such precious things are right beside us, yet no one ever says they can be eaten. People always say to kill them, and that cockroaches are pests everywhere. I suspect this must be an American conspiracy. Alara nodded in approval. Exactly, everyone says cockroaches are little strongs that can't be killed, which shows how resilient they are. Every day I juice cockroaches for Leo to drink so he can get healthy and undergo a complete transformation. He's only been drinking it for 2 days, and we're already seeing results. Leo is now undergoing the process of cleansing the marrow and forging the bones. It must be about to succeed. Then our Zhao family will also have a top scholar, bringing glory to our ancestors. My father narrowed his eyes after hearing this, as if he could already see Zhao Leo becoming the top scholar and reaching the pinnacle of glory, but he still had a slight dissatisfaction. Juicing seems a bit wasteful. Such a small thing, how much juice can you get? The internet says fruit should be eaten whole, not juiced. All the essence is lost after juicing. It's better to eat it directly. Alara nodded, but I'm afraid Leo won't eat it. My father shot her a glance, displaying a profound air. Leo loves grilled food and fried chicken the most. Grill stalls even have grilled scorpions and centipedes, and people scramble to eat them. Try frying and grilling the cockroaches a bit. I'm sure he'll love it. Alara's eyes lit up. Father, you're so smart. Why didn't I think of that? My father grunted twice triumphantly, continuing to prop his feet up and watch short videos, adding, "But don't eat too much. Frying loses nutrients. It's just for fun. For medicine, you should still preserve the original flavor." Alara nodded repeatedly. "I understand, father. Later, I'll let Leo eat them raw. He'll get used to it after a few times." Suddenly, my father cried out, "Oh, my back has been hurting lately. I don't know why. I guess I'm just getting old." Alara showed concern. "Don't worry, father. I'll save some for you too. You also need a little boost." My father smiled contentedly. Alara turned to hug a tired Leo. "It's okay, son. Feeling uncomfortable now is normal because your body is detoxifying. Mom will cook something delicious to nourish you, okay?" After saying that, she turned on the TV for Leo and went to the kitchen. Waiting for the oil to heat up, she opened the box and dropped the cockroaches in to fry. The dark brown cockroaches spun in the old oil, making an enticing sizzling sound. A fragrant aroma wafted up. Leo sniffed and asked, "What are you cooking, Mom? It smells so good." Alara smiled. "It's delicious food, son. Mom is almost done." A moment later, Alara brought out 2 plates. One plate held crispy, fragrant fried cockroaches, and the other contained raw, natural cockroaches. Leo immediately screamed when he saw them. "Disgusting, I'm not eating that." Alara coaxed him. "Leo, didn't you say your last exam didn't go well and your female desk mate looked down on you? Mom tells you if you eat this, you'll undergo a complete transformation, become incredibly smart, and ace every exam." Leo was intrigued by the prospect and quickly grabbed a fried cockroach, stuffing it into his mouth. Pop! Liquid spurted from the cockroach. Alara chuckled. "You're dripping again?" Leo cheered excitedly. "It's tasty too, just a bit chewy." Watching that scene through the camera, I couldn't help but dry heave a few times. A colleague passing by asked worriedly, "Are you all right, Lily?" I waved my hand. "I'm fine," my colleague smiled. "It's lunchtime, let's go eat." I quickly turned off the camera app, trying to forget the scene I had just witnessed, and followed my colleague to lunch. From now on, I will definitely not watch the camera during meal times again. It easily ruins my appetite. That evening, when I returned home, I feigned a complaint. The hospital is short-staffed these days, with a lot of overtime. Coming home late, I'm afraid I'll disturb everyone's rest. I'm thinking of moving into the hospital dormitory temporarily. No one in the family objected. Daniel even happily ate 2 extra bowls of rice, thinking that once I left, the house would be his. From then on, I moved into the dormitory. To know what was happening at home, I just had to open the camera. The familiar scene repeated itself. Alara fed Leo cockroaches, and my father would sneak a few. Daniel, initially surprised, gradually became convinced and occasionally tried a few pieces. The whole family lived in harmonious joy. But I clearly saw that Leo was not only not getting stronger, but his complexion was worsening. He was no longer the fair-skinned, chubby child he was in my previous life. After all, in this life, he wasn't eating the expensive food I bought, but only cockroaches Alara caught off the streets. Seeing him like that, my heart felt no ripples of emotion. In my previous life, they blamed me for not letting him eat cockroaches. Well, this life, he was getting his fill. Gradually, I stopped opening the camera. The entire family seemed to vanish from my world. Coincidentally, the hospital offered an opportunity for overseas training. I immediately prepared my application documents. Suddenly, one day, my mother called, saying she missed me and wanted me to come home for dinner. I knew she wouldn't call just because she missed her daughter, but I still went back, wanting to see what new tricks these people would pull. I deliberately delayed leaving work, arriving home just in time for dinner. As soon as I opened the door, I nearly fainted. On the dining table, besides the usual savory and vegetarian dishes, there were 2 large plates piled high with cockroaches. Some were still alive, their antennae weakly twitching. My nephew, oblivious to everything, was holding one, crunching on it loudly. Black trash bags were everywhere in the house, filled with waste. Some bags were leaking yellow fluid, and cockroaches of all kinds scurried across the floor. I got goosebumps. The air was filled with an indescribable putrid smell. I almost vomited on the spot. Was this hell? And was this really my asterisk house? Alara saw me return and smiled brightly. "Lily, you're back. What are you standing there for? Come in and eat." I didn't step inside, remaining rooted to the spot, suppressing my anger. "If you called me for something, say it. Otherwise, I'm leaving." My father immediately exploded in anger, pointing and cursing. "Is that how you talk to your father?" My mother quickly tried to calm him down. "Lily has been very busy lately, don't mind her." Alara's face also turned cold, but she still forced a smile. "Lily, you work at the hospital. I know there's medicine made from cockroaches, and it sells for a high price. Now our family has raised so many cockroaches. Besides what we eat, there's a lot left over. It would be a waste not to use them. I want to ask you to be a liaison to sell these cockroaches to the hospital for medicine. Wouldn't that be mutually beneficial? Our cockroaches are all carefully selected by me. They're shiny, big, and healthy, all high-quality stock, domestic ones too, so they're definitely more effective than foreign cockroaches. If this works out, you can also earn money. As a nurse, you work so hard every day. How much do you earn?" My father and Daniel also stared at me intently, their eyes as if already seeing money falling into their hands. I sneered. I knew their mouths would never utter anything good or beautiful, but I never expected them to be this absurd. Absolutely not. Cockroaches used for medicine must be raised according to standards, with specific processing procedures, not like what you're doing. You've turned this house into a cockroach farm, stinking it up like this. Don't forget, this is my asterisk house. Clean up all those cockroaches immediately. Alara was so angry she choked on her words. My father grabbed a pair of chopsticks and threw them at me. "Your house? Didn't I raise you? This is my asterisk house. You're incompetent and you don't want us to earn money. What a waste to have raised you." I dodged, then turned and walked away. My rage flared. I couldn't keep this house anymore, but I absolutely wouldn't let them claim it as their own. Back at the dormitory, I doused myself with alcohol, threw the clothes I had been wearing into the hamper, and then sat down to review old camera footage. It turned out Alara discovered that the cockroaches in the house weren't enough for Leo to eat, so she thought, natural is best. Besides catching cockroaches around the house, she also went to the neighborhood's dump to hunt. But the area I lived in was well managed, with very few cockroaches. She then ordered thousands of cockroaches online and researched their ideal living environment. From then on, the trash in the house was no longer taken out but left to serve as a living environment for them. Before long, the stench was overwhelming. Since I had moved out, she moved all the cockroach breeding bins into my room. Seeing that scene, I secretly felt lucky. Lucky I had moved out, lucky I had taken all my belongings with me. Otherwise, I'd probably have to burn the whole house down now. Remembering the hellish conditions in my house, I opened the apartment complex residents chat group. Sure enough, someone was complaining that there were more cockroaches lately, demanding the management disinfect more thoroughly. Others agreed. Exactly, my house never had them before, rarely saw one, but now it's every day. Don't know where they're coming from? The entire group erupted, blaming the management. At this point, I used a secondary account to befriend the neighbor across the hall, Mrs. Davies, a bold woman who feared nothing. I told her that the house opposite was breeding cockroaches and sent a few photos. She was furious, immediately going to the residents' group chat and unleashing a torrent of abuse. Unit 401 is truly immoral. How dare you breed cockroaches in an apartment building? Isn't that disgusting? You've lost your minds. You leave trash in your house, it stinks so bad it's suffocating. I've been wondering why my house smelled lately and didn't dare open the windows, thinking someone might have died in there and their body was decomposing. Then I saw cockroaches crawling out from under their door. Where are they going? This family even eats cockroaches. Do they have mental problems? Alara said nothing more but instead posted a photo. In the picture, Zhao Leo was holding a cockroach to his mouth, his face full of satisfaction. The residents in the apartment chat group were stunned after seeing the photo, and the group immediately exploded with a barrage of messages. Oh my God, is this family insane? Why breed cockroaches in their house? Are they really locals? Do they have some special bloodline? I heard only Meow people raise snakes and insects. Who raises cockroaches? Why are they making their child eat cockroaches? Are the parents mentally ill, or is the child sick? At this moment, Alara hesitantly appeared in the group, scolding the neighbors. Watch your mouths a little. My family breeds cockroaches for medicine, what do you know? These are precious. Cockroaches crawling into your homes is a blessing. I haven't even demanded payment yet. But her words made many previously silent residents speak up. Where's the management? Can this family be evicted from the apartment building? Help! My house doesn't feel clean anymore. People eat scorpions and centipedes, but who eats cockroaches? They're really crazy. The argument only subsided temporarily when the management spoke up. They would conduct an on-site inspection. If the matter was true, they would advise the family to stop breeding cockroaches. At the same time, they would organize a thorough disinfection of the entire complex the next day. Someone unknown reposted the group chat conversation on a short video social media platform, and with the abnormality of the story, it quickly went viral online in just one day. Netizens clamored, "Damn it, is this family crazy? Another case of the wolf's temptation." Finally, a video that leaves me speechless. If you're sick, go get treated, don't harm others. Information about Alara and her family was quickly dug up. Some people demanded that our entire apartment complex be avoided for being unsafe. The residents in the complex could no longer sit still. Everyone demanded that my family provide an explanation. Someone threw rotting trash in front of their door, and the words, "Cockroach Den," were spray-painted in red. Even Leo's teachers and classmates saw the photo and started gossiping. Previously, everyone had suspected something because he often chewed on something with a distinct crunching sound but wouldn't say what it was when asked. Now everyone knew he was chewing cockroaches. My nephew was so embarrassed that he stubbornly refused to go to school. Alara started panicking. After a few days of the incident spreading, just as public opinion began to calm down, Alara unexpectedly went live on stream. In the live stream, her eyes were red and teary, her voice choked with emotion. I apologize for troubling everyone. Today, I'm here to clarify a few things. Actually, it was all instigated by my husband's sister. She's a hospital nurse, and she told us there was a medicine made from cockroaches, an opportunity to get rich that people hadn't discovered yet. She even guaranteed she had connections in the hospital, telling our family to confidently raise them, and she would help sell them as medicinal ingredients. We are country folk, not highly educated. How would we know cockroaches could be used for medicine? We believed her because she was educated, a university graduate, and spoke with such certainty that we would make money. But when our house was full of them and we asked when they could be sold, she said they couldn't be sold. Isn't that playing a trick on us? That's why those cockroaches are still in our house. We don't know how to deal with them either. Even my son was lured by her. He's so young, what does he know? His aunt told him to eat, so he ate. He's very pitiful too. Now public opinion is affecting my family's life. We admit our mistakes. You can scold us however you want, but please don't torment the child anymore. He's being discriminated against at school and cries every day, refusing to go. At this point, tears streamed down her face, making her look incredibly pathetic. My parents also trembled as they stepped into the frame, bowing their heads and saying, "It's our fault for not raising our daughter well. We apologize to everyone. We will certainly have our daughter provide a reasonable explanation." The two elderly people continuously bowed and apologized to the camera, looking truly pitiable. Some kind-hearted netizens, hearing this, sent gifts during the live stream. They're suffering due to ignorance, that's all. It's all the sister-in-law's doing. They thought she was helping them make money, but she ended up tricking the whole family. How hateful. To do that to your own family, tying a broken rope around a weak spot. Who would do such a thing if not for money? Some even felt sympathy for the family. Meanwhile, through the camera, I saw the entire family tear up as they watched the screen fill with gifts and comments. Off camera, they were grinning from ear to ear. Daniel excitedly praised, "My wife still has the brains. This time our family will definitely turn things around, and quite a few people are sending gifts too." Alara was so smug she couldn't contain herself. "Want to wash your hands of us? Not so easy. I'll definitely make her cough up all the money." After they finished the live stream, I immediately called to confront them. "Why are you slandering me like this?" From the other end, Alara's arrogant voice rang out. "Before, you played dead and wouldn't stand up for us. Now that things are getting tough, you show your face and ask? Too late. Listen, Lily Zhao. Either you transfer the house to your brother's name, and I might still show you some respect and say a few good words, or just wait for the netizens to hunt you down. You might even lose your job." She laughed loudly and triumphantly, while my nephew cheered and clapped beside her. "Bad person, give us back our house immediately." I said nothing, merely edited the recording of that phone call together with previous surveillance video footage from when I returned home and was treated badly, creating a new video and posting it online. Not long after, netizens found my personal information. Lily Zhao, phone number 137X, nurse at XYZ People's Hospital. My phone constantly received abusive messages and a barrage of harassing calls. Even the head doctor called me in to discuss the matter. He sighed softly. "Zhao Zhao, you usually work very carefully, and patients appreciate you. Everyone sees that. But because of your sister-in-law's words, many people are starting to question the hospital's reputation, affecting its prestige. How about this? I'll give you a week's leave to deal with your family matters. I believe you're not that kind of person. Please try to clarify everything as soon as possible. I promise to resolve this quickly and absolutely not allow it to harm the hospital's reputation." That evening, I created a social media account and posted the rebuttal video. In the video, it was very clear that Alara was the one forcing my nephew to eat cockroaches. I had tried to intervene but was rejected. My family had even cursed and insulted me. Immediately after, I posted a second video showing the property deed registered in my name, along with the audio recording of Alara threatening to make me transfer the house. Public opinion immediately shifted dramatically. I said it, no nurse would ever do such things. That family had problems from the start, it's obvious. Poor girl, her house was blood-sucked and taken over by her family, and now she's being slandered. As a fellow nurse, I have to say that sister-in-law's words are completely unreasonable. Being a nurse is already tiring enough. Encountering something like this is truly heartbreaking. I was once Nurse Zhao's patient. She was very dedicated. I was hospitalized alone, and thanks to her care, I recovered so quickly. There's no way she's a bad person. Alara, enraged, called me dozens of times. I didn't answer any. Instead, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and had a good night's sleep. The next day, I booked a flight to Haicheng, planning a week-long vacation to relax. At the same time, I forwarded all recordings of Alara's livestream, her threatening messages, and phone calls to my lawyer, asking them to prepare a lawsuit. My neighbor across the hall, Mrs. Davies, also sent updates on the situation in the complex. Daniel's family had become an eyesore to everyone. Every day, people would come knocking on the door of my house, where they were living. They would shout insults, dump waste in front of the door, and spray dirty water. They dared not go outside and finally had to secretly pack their belongings. In the dead of night, they quietly moved back to their hometown. Hearing the news, I had mixed emotions. Although I had driven away the blood-sucking crowd, the house I had worked so hard to save for and buy was also ruined, no longer intact. Perhaps this was the price of being soft-hearted and blindly trusting people. But at least it was still better than being murdered in my previous life, my body not intact, and my ashes thrown into the sewer. I hired a professional cockroach extermination team to treat and disinfect the entire house, inside and out. Afterward, I reported back to the management, requesting several more rounds of disinfection. Finally, I put the house up for sale at a significantly lower price than the market value. Fortunately, house prices had risen sharply in recent years, so even selling it cheap, I didn't lose money. The house was also near the hospital, and the elementary school in the district was good, so someone quickly inquired about buying it. I honestly explained the previous situation, but the buyer didn't mind, saying that at this price, it was a bargain. The child was still young, not yet school age. In a few years, he would regularly come to that house to spray cockroach killer. By the time they actually moved in, perhaps the souls of the cockroaches would have reincarnated several times over. We happily completed the transaction. With the money from the house sale, I bought a small, cozy apartment near the hospital. After returning from my trip, the head doctor smiled brightly and gave me good news. "Xiao Zhao, you've been selected for overseas training." My lawsuit was also quickly brought to trial. Before the court opened, my parents, Daniel and Alara, took turns calling and messaging me. At first, they begged and feigned pity. Later, they cursed maliciously and put hexes on me. But I ignored it all, simply taking screenshots and sending them directly to my lawyer. If I were to be tricked by them again, my reincarnation would truly be pointless. The court finally pronounced its verdict. Alara was found guilty of defamation, sentenced to 6 months in prison, and ordered to pay me compensation. I felt utterly refreshed. Though the amount wasn't large, just knowing they were inconvenienced brought me joy. After handling everything, I boarded a plane to the United States. Stepping foot in a strange country, everything initially felt foreign. I fumbled and stumbled, but quickly I adapted. I had almost completely forgotten the family that had caused me so much suffering. Until one day, I received a call from the police. They told me to remain calm, informing me that all my relatives had died. I was stunned. I had imagined they would live miserable lives, but I never thought they would die so quickly. The police recounted that after Daniel's family moved back to their hometown, they struggled greatly. The entire village knew about their bad deeds, and no one wanted to associate with them. My nephew refused to go to school, only playing games all day. Daniel couldn't find work. With Alara still in prison, he lived a vagrant life, indulging in debauchery. My parents, who were old enough to enjoy their retirement, had to become the main laborers, returning to farming vegetables to barely get by. When Alara was released from prison, Daniel became a little less reckless, but the two often argued, and the house was never peaceful. In that environment, my nephew continued to play games day and night as if none of it concerned him. Until one night, he suddenly went berserk, using a kitchen knife to kill his paternal grandparents and his biological mother while they were sleeping. When the knife cut his grandmother's neck, she woke up in pain. During the struggle, the knife stabbed him in the chest. Neighbors heard the commotion and ran over, finding a sea of blood inside the house. Leo lay in a pool of blood, still muttering, "It shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this. I should be living in a mansion, driving a luxury car. It's all your fault. It's my aunt's fault." The terrified neighbors immediately called 911, but too much blood had been lost. Both Daniel and Leo died before reaching the hospital. After finishing, the police cautiously asked how I wanted to handle their ashes. I responded indifferently, "I apologize, officer. I'm abroad and cannot return. Just find any convenient drain and pour them in. The whole family should be together. Thank you for your trouble." I hung up. I remained in a daze for a very long time.